Hello everybody, this is me, The End of the Thing. This is a video I've owed the people that have been following my RPG stuff for a while, and I do apologize. There's been a lot of like just real life stuff and whatever going on. So this is part 10 of my creating your own campaign world and how you go about that whole process. And I just wanted to, this is the putting it all together episode. Now I actually did record this once before, and then I deleted it off my camera. and then I forgot that I deleted it off my camera, and then I, in my mind, thought that I had done this, and of course I hadn't. So anyway, the whole process is that like I finally found some time, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about this right now. So if you haven't watched the first 9, go ahead and check those out, and you can kind of watch my step-by-step process of how I go about creating a campaign world. And I am in the process of writing up the background for a campaign world that I hopefully will base a large number of adventures in. Hopefully with the coming new year. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm waiting for my turn to be the DM of our group. But regardless, I do constantly think of these things, and I try to come up with different plans and ideas, and making sure that like I write these things down, because I tend to forget some of my best ideas unless I actually put them to a paper or virtual paper. But the whole process of putting everything together is one that it's kind of, in a lot of ways, I think this is like the weakest of my entries in this like 10-step process, because if you've done the other 9 things that I do, like I've got all of the bones of the skeleton, right? And now I'm putting those bones together. I'm putting those different worlds together, those different races, whatever, the different religions, the different NPCs, and so on and so forth. I'm putting those together, making a framework, and now I kind of have to start fleshing these things out. But the thing is that I don't really completely flesh things out. I have usually like the first plot of whatever campaign idea that I have pretty well made, but then I kind of just let the players just make a wonderful mess of things in the system. I let them just kind of tear around and rip things apart and tear these things down. I have NPCs that become more important that I never thought would be a part of it. I mean, and then I have NPCs who I thought were going to be really, really important, just never really get used. And so then I had to adapt the game to fit that. For example, in my last campaign, there was this crazy madman priest that lived on the outskirts of the town that they were at, and he was involved in a lot of weird things, and I had this like big arching backstory for him. I had created like his little ramshackle hut that he lived in, and then there was like a dungeon near that that he was exploring, and that's when he went in there, that's what made him crazy, and then that was going to be part of the whole situation with the characters were going to go in there and they're going to discover that, and so on and so forth. But the thing is that they to get the characters to go and investigate that, I had them find his dead body, like his like without its head, and it was supposed to be like oh we were going to investigate it. But then they just were like, whatever, he was some crazy guy who lived outside the city, just something bad happened to him, he should have known better. They didn't care, right? So I had to come up with some other way to get them interested in that. So that's where like having like really structured, really like purposeful, go from here to here to here to here to here campaigns don't really work well for me. I like being able to have some flexibility and let the players kind of get a feel for the world. Now, make sure when you put everything together, like if you're the person that uses a laptop, which I don't suggest you do. I mean, at some point I'm gonna like have like a mistakes I think the dungeon masters make thing, and this is not necessarily what's the word I'm looking for? It's not necessarily like the golden rule, but you know, like if you have a laptop and you have all your information on your laptop, yes, it's a great way to have and type all that stuff up, and you can have your Google Docs and whatever, and it's easy to find maps and whatever and things like that. But it's been my experience that when you allow players to have a laptop with them, or even the DM having a laptop with them, they inevitably start like, oh, what's on Twitter? Oh, hey, what's on Facebook? You know, oh, hey, what's over here? You know, they just start, what's the score of that baseball game? You know, they start mind wandering and doing it. And if you're okay with that, then fine, whatever. But, you know, for me, it's a distraction. I try to keep away from it. But regardless, once you get the thing rolling up and ready, just make sure that you have all of your information at a moment's notice. You never want to have like where you got to remember the name of the constable of the fort that players are in. You know, just have like when you have your DM screen, have your dramatis persona. Like have them all situated and have them all sitting right there so you can see them. Go on the Googles, and when you print that sheet off, print off a generic fantasy picture of that person to go along with it. So like you can just say, oh yeah, you remember this guy, right? And you can just hold that piece of paper up and you can show them the picture. It helps so much with visualization and things like that. The biggest thing is that now that you've got your campaign world created, you have to be able to, one, accept that this is your baby, and the baby is going to be affected by everybody else that's in that world, and they're going to change things, and they're going to mess with things, and they're going to alter things, and they're going to screw it up. But the other big thing is that you are going to have to think on your toes, and you're going to have to let that thing grow, right? You've put it in the pot. You've fed it the miracle grow. You've watered it. Now let it grow, and let it grow naturally. Don't try to push the plant to be, you know, the campaign world to be something that you want it to be. Let it grow. Let it grow as a mutual like garden, if you will, that you and your players will create and grow together. And then ultimately everybody will be kind of bought into it. And at the very end of your campaign, you'll be able to look back at this thing that started with these seeds and this bulb or whatever, and you'll be able to see the progression that it took to become what it is that you've created. And that's, I think, like when you look back, that's the satisfaction. The satisfaction of the story, but also the satisfaction of the fact that everybody had an equal part in its creation. Alright, so there you go. Thank you very much for watching this series of videos. I apologize again for this number 10. This number 10 is not really much of a video. This is more of a segue into what I'm going to be doing, like, kind of like my advice to DMs. Like, and this is going to be, that will be like the actual, like, mechanism-esque things, if you will. And how, like, I run a Dungeons and Dragons game, how I get people excited to be at the table, how I get people excited about the story, how I run just the combats and the conversations and just the descriptions and all the other things that go into the actual nuts and bolts of actual D&D. So thank you again for everything. Until next time, I'm the Undead Viking. You're awesome, and don't stop being awesome. Continue being the best version of you that you possibly can be. Yeah, you take care of yourself now.